sports is melding with politics more and more and more. And a guy who knows that very well is joining us now from Miami in a limousine. He is covering the NBA.
Not a limo.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it
not a
is.
limo, Bill. It's a car.
Yeah. He's
It's so
covering the
funny.
NBA
What's up?
Finals. Tomorrow night is the third game. Stephen A. Smith, the author of Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. Good book. You did a good job there, Stephen. He's the host of Stephen A. Smith podcast on YouTube. In addition, he works for ESPN on First Take every morning. So he is overemployed. Stephen Smith is overemployed. Too many jobs, like me. All right. All right. First of
Good.
all, the Dodgers. Colossal
Yeah.
mistake, correct? Colossal mistake.
Well, you know what? That remains to be seen, Bill, only from the standpoint that we understand at the end of the day, these are business decisions. And when you think that something is going to ingratiate you with an audience, or it's going to prevent an audience from separating itself from you, most of these decisions are based on that premise. And so when you look at it from that perspective, that's what I think you have to take into consideration here. A lot of times you see organizations and what they're doing, particularly in this day and age, with one issue after another, a new issue seemingly cropping up every single week, for crying out loud. When that stuff is going on, what you're trying to do is wiggle and maneuver your way through the terrain, so to speak, and to make sure that it doesn't find its way towards affecting your bottom line in an
So what I'm
adverse way.
hearing from you is the Los Angeles Dodgers have no morality at all. They'll honor a
Okay.
hate group if they think the hate group's honor will bring them money.
I don't know this definitively, but I'm inclined to say yes.
Oh,
I'm inclined to say yes
and
because
the
guess what?
Angels,
That's
the LA Angels going to have to.
again.
The Angels have to change their name. The Angels
I'm,
have to
I'm
change
saying
their name. They can't
you're getting
honor a group that hates Christians and call themselves the
you're.
Angels.
I don't know anything about this group. I'm not speaking about a specific group. What
Come
I'm saying to
on,
you,
you
Bill
know what
O'Reilly,
it
listen to me.
is.
Listen to me. Listen to me. No, no, no. In fairness to you, I haven't done my homework on this particular group,
Oh,
this
come
particular issue. I
on.
have not. But let me say this to you. I'm not questioning anything about the group. What I'm saying to you is this. I'm inclined to believe when I speak about that, I'm speaking in generalities because in my years of covering sports, particularly in this day and age, with the exorbitant amount of money that has really cropped up, to answer your question, I do think that morality has gone out the window for a whole bunch of folks,
But it's
acting as if morality
crazy
is
now.
playing a role.
So
I agree.
remember last summer when
Right.
Manfred, the commission of baseball, moved
Yes.
the All-Star game out of Atlanta, hurting African American businesses like crazy,
I agree
to
with that.
Denver under a fraudulent banner of voter
Okay.
suppression, which was blown out of the water when Georgia had record voter participation a few months later in the midterms. So
Or what about you're
politics.
missing one? What about what happened in 2017 when the NBA moved the All-Star game to New Orleans from Charlotte because of the whole the quote unquote bathroom law that was put into place
I
by Governor
know
McCrory at the time?
this
I
is
mean, it's not the
crazy,
first time it's happened. It's not
but
the
this
first
is
time it's happened. But
nuts.
okay. And I'm saying to you, Bill O'Reilly, whether it's Bill O'Reilly, Mr. No Spin himself, how many times have you called out one corporation after another, spanning decades, because morality has been thrown out the window in favor of their bottom line?
But
You've
they
called them
get
out on many
hurt.
occasions.
Those companies get hurt. Whereas I don't
Okay.
think the Dodgers are going to lose anything but more games because I think God is going to punish them. And I hope he
And what does that
does.
say to you?
I
And
don't
what does
like
that
them
say to you?
anyway.
The fact, what does that say to you about the fact that you've been covering these kind of stories for years? And as you accurately pointed out, once upon a time, corporations were hurt by these things.
Well,
Now
now
they're
they are
not being
too.
hurt.
No,
Well, again,
Anheuser-Busch has got blown out of the
that is
water.
true.
Target got
Absolutely.
blown out of the water and it's getting worse.
Okay.
But here's the nexus. Look, you, I predict, I don't even know if you know this or not, are going to cross over into what I do in the next few years. Barkley
Think
is
so, huh?
already doing it because CNN hired him to do a weekly, and that's not going to be
Right.
about somebody shooting a three-pointer, okay? he's going to give his opinion on world events, country events. You're going to do the same thing. But in the sports industry itself,
Right.
politics is now coming on in so heavy. Is that a good or bad thing?
Depends on the issue. And I would tell you this, you know this better than me because obviously you're a little bit older than me, although you look better. Here's the deal. You remember in the 60s and the 70s, and you saw civil rights era, you saw Muhammad Ali refusing to enter the draft and go into the army because he didn't want to go to Vietnam. You saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, the late Jim Brown, God rest his soul, standing behind him in support of him, or sitting by his side in support of him, because that was a clear issue when you talk about black folks and how folks were treated. Now we've got issues. We've got what people would classify as xenophobia. We've got situations involving immigration. We've got the transgender issue. We've got the homophobia. We've got all of these things that have percolated to the point where racism has just been, it's like it's not even up there on the food chain any longer, for crying out loud, compared to a lot of these other issues. And when you have that audience in the world of sports, here's the difference. Anheuser-Busch, you brought that up and said, okay, maybe I won't go buy some beer. Maybe I won't go to Target. It's a lot more difficult for an audience to sit up there and say, I'm not going to watch a football game. I'm not going to watch a baseball game.
No,
I'm not
that's
going to watch
true.
a
We
basketball
saw
game,
that with
because that's the
Kaepernick.
entertainment.
We
And
saw that
that's
with
the challenge. And
but
that's the challenge, because the
but the
entertainment comes
NFL
into play.
The NFL knew they were in danger, and the owners ordered the players not to kneel, and that's why it went away. They knew they were in danger. They were right on the edge. Now, there's another issue, and I need your take on this. Biologically born men who choose as an adult to become a woman, and you're allowed to do that in America. You are allowed to do it. But then they want to get in the pool and swim against the female swimmers, or play a sport against. And biologically, everyone knows physiologically, if you're born a male, you are born stronger than a female. So does it make sense to allow these trans people to compete against women, in your opinion?
In my opinion, no. And I've been on the record stating that. And listen, this is my thing. I'm so liberal in my thinking on social issues. I'm fiscally conservative, but on social issues, I'm a really big proponent on living and let living. I believe that everybody should have the same equal rights, civil rights, et cetera, et cetera. I'm very, very big on that. So I'm very supportive of the homosexual community, the transgender community in that regard, et cetera, et cetera. But when you talk about people who are born men competing in a women's sports because they've transitioned to women, that is definitely a discussion that I think that we should all have, because on its face, I don't see how that's possible, nor do I see how it's right to an abundance of to every naturally born female out there who is competing in the world of sports. There's a fairness issue there.
And the only reason it's happening is because of this insane progressive woke culture. Bill O'Reilly here, inviting you to watch the No Spin News on the First TV. Unlike the corporate press, I will never mislead my audience. My only goal is to bring you the truth without spin. That's why the No Spin News is the only program to watch at 8 p.m. We are here to report the facts without speculation. You can watch the No Spin News at 8 on DirecTV or anytime with the First TV app. If you've had enough with cable TV's boring primetime coverage, switch to the No Spin News, the only choice, at 8 p.m. Eastern. The No Spin News on the First TV.